Hey guys, just wanted to cover a quick trick on how to make boundaries a lot easier for yourself. So we have a site here, super unrealistic, but you got an existing drive here, we're putting parking on it, and we're also extending that drive. You can see these curbs here, oops, all the way down to this other road. We have some feature lines in here, so we're going to go and turn them on. We also have a surface, that's going to be in tool space. No, that's tool palettes, huh? That's properties. It's probably the big button that says tool space, huh? Okay. We're going to turn on our contours. We have a finished grade surface. It has a curb in here, nothing special. So how do we get a boundary? Well, what I see a lot of people doing is they'll edit the surface and delete line. Actually, you can see it automatically turns on triangles for us. I did not know it did that. That's kind of cool. You can use fence selection as well if you get really fancy. But you just have to do this. It's very tedious. And it's just kind of hacky. It's not a great solution. And then we got to do that over here as well, and it's kind of hard to tell what we got going on. But you can see we also have two separate areas here. So we have this area and this main one, and we're not actually grading anywhere in between. So we're also going to clean up that. And we kind of hope that that matches up with our feature lines here. Yeah, it looks like it. So with bigger sites, and even with a small site like this, that's just very hacky and just kind of silly. Namely, what happens if your existing kind of changes a little bit? Well, all these triangles come back. Man, I got stuff at 0. Why? Well, because if you look in your surface definition, you can just get to that by going to surface properties. You'll see it says delete multiple lines. That makes sense. We deleted multiple lines, but look how it's remembering which ones. Because it's not like AutoCAD names them. It's not like this is line 1, 2, 3, Jeff, Bob, Derry. It's remembering the points we click. So if a line changes, so it's not going through that point we clicked anymore, it's going through a different point, well then this isn't going to work. You can see this red little kind of, I don't even know how to describe it, this little red circle here. That means that it actually couldn't find any of these lines. So this operation is doing nothing other than just slowing down rebuilds. So it's kind of hacky. It's just not a great way to do things. So there's surface boundaries, and a lot of people don't like them because you have to draw them, and that can kind of be a pain. So that's what I want to show a quick trick on. So if you isolate your feature lines layer, you select them all. I'm going to go ahead and turn on a layer called boundary and make that my current. If we select everything here and type in linework shrink wrap, you'll notice it actually creates a little line around all our feature lines that we can easily use. Now the cool part about this is you'll notice, if we delete this real quick, under here these aren't connected. So that's what also ends up happening, is you'll have disconnected feature lines. So it's not like I just have one massive feature line I can just add as my boundary. You'll have several disconnected feature lines, and it's a pain to stitch them all together, and you have to explode them because you really just need a polyline boundary. You don't want overlapping feature lines. It's a whole mess. So linework shrink wrap just takes all of that out of the equation. You just select everything, linework shrink wrap. Now, you'll notice here that we've taken care to make sure that we draw an enclosed shape with our feature lines. That's best practice. You don't really want to leave dangling things, like say I just drew my existing short of here. Well, why not just connect it? That's what's going to happen with the triangles. So you just gotta kind of get in the habit of being more explicit with your boundary. But even if you have disconnected ones, you just select everything, linework shrink wrap. You're off to the races. Now, this is even kind of forgiving with these things. Let's see what happens here. I actually don't know. I haven't tested this. Depends on how big the gap is. Let's try it again. Sometimes it'll be really mean to you. Okay, so in this instance, it was giving us some grace here. So even with a kind of imperfect site, it'll still help you. Now, I don't know about this though. Let's see what it does. Oh, okay, it still does. You'd have to have probably a really, really bad overhang or whatever to get it to mess up, but it will. If you're super sloppy with your feature lines, it won't work. But we linework shrink wrap, and we have a polyline boundary. Get back out of here. So now what we're going to do is add that to our surface, and that's pretty simple. Only caveat is sometimes You gotta be careful if you have feature lines underneath this, which is gonna be always. Sometimes you need to turn that layer off when you add it because weird things will happen. Ask me how I know. So I'm just going to turn that off in this case so we don't have anything behind here, just the surface. I'm going to click the surface, add boundaries, outer, and of course my favorite trick, I'm going to add boundaries, show, I'm going to get this guy in here, and then now we have our little surface here. If your site ever changes, you can just run through those steps again and you got a quick little boundary. One caveat with this, and I actually just noticed this over here, if you have arcs, if you have arc feature lines as part of your outer site boundary, linework shrink-wrap will sometimes spit out weird geometry, and you notice the surface here actually, it looks like it's like inverting this arc. It's almost like we have like it's almost like we have this going on. It's like it's doing it's like kind of flipping the arc around there. That's a bug. Civil 3D, their team is allegedly working on that. That's something that I've noticed. The solution to that is simple when you create your boundary. So let's just pretend we've just typed in linework shrink-wrap. I'm going to go ahead and isolate this layer. All you got to do is take your boundary polylines that it creates, explode them, type in flatten. I'm going to select these objects here. It's going to ask us to remove headlines. We can just hit no. And then it's flatten them. We're going to rejoin. Unisolate here. Now our surface is not rebuilding because we just exploded that. So we're going to have to re-add it real quick. Add boundaries, outer. I'm going to go ahead and tighten up the mid-ordinate distances just for the arcs here. Click the arc, and you can see now it correctly kind of goes around this. Then we're going to do the same with the show boundary. And there you go. You can see it's also getting that guy correctly too, which is exactly what we want. Always remember to clean up your surface definition. So we're just going to go in surface properties. You see we have some boundaries that it's not finding anymore because we exploded it. Go ahead and remove them. And there we go. Let's take a look at object viewer here. See, we got a nice little curve there. We got our separate little island over there. That's going to do it for this one. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.